A girl goes on a field trip with her school to the Great Smokey Mountains of Tennessee to never be seen again. An accident, abduction, or perhaps something a little more peculiar. You decide on today's Peculiar Occurrences. Teresa Lynn Gibson, fondly known as Trenny, was born on August 17, 1960, to Hope and Robert Gibson. They were residents of Knoxville, Tennessee, and she attended Bearden High School. Trenny and 38 other students went on a field trip on October 8, 1976. Trenny boarded a bus and sat next to a boy named Robert Simpson. The bus left Bearden High around 9 a.m. to go to the Great Smokey Mountains of Tennessee. And to add to the excitement of things, the teacher accompanying them that day, Wayne Dunlap, had not informed the students of where they would be going on this field trip. That so would not fly today, probably because of things like this. The bus stopped in part at the parking lot in the Klingman's Dome area. The students were told to hike to Andrews Bald. Andrew Bald is a mountain in the Great Smoky Mountain that has an elevation of 5,920 feet above sea level, making it the highest grassy bald in the Great Smoky Mountains. The class was told to hike up there and observe trees and plants, but not to break any of the plants or collect anything. And they were to return to the bus using the same trail no later than 3:30 p.m. Wayne Dunlap, the supervising teacher, had told the students to not go any further than Andrew Bald and to not take any side trails, to just go there and back. He asked the students if his instructions were understood, and everybody gave a show of hands, and he dismissed them along their way. The weather was overcast and chilly, but the children didn't seem to mind it. They broke up in groups according to their hiking pace, and Trenny went into a group with the boy she had sat with on the bus, Robert Simpson. And not knowing where they were going, Trenny did not dress well for the weather. She was last seen wearing a blue blouse, a blue and white striped sweater with blue Adidas shoes, and a star sapphire ring. And at some point, Robert Simpson also let her borrow his brown plaid heavy jacket, in which she still had on at her time of disappearance. At about 1:30 p.m., it was claimed that Trenny had left the company of Robert Simpson and started the hike back to the bus alone. Angela Becker, Lisa Michaels, and Bobby Coghill were all walking together, heading back towards the bus as well, when Trenny had come up behind them. But she was walking faster than the group was, so Bobby picked up his pace to walk with her. They then caught up with Scott Troy and Anita Rounds. And after about 5 minutes of walking with them, the group had all decided that they wanted to sit down and take a rest. But Trenny didn't want to sit. She wanted to keep going. At the time, the group was about half to 3/4 of a mile away from Klingman's Dome and the bus. After Trenny walked away, the entire group was watching her. And she stopped, bent down, and then turned to the right and went off the trail. David Easthelm came up right behind Trenny and did not see her like tucked off into the woods or anything like that. The rest of the group also went and checked, and they as well did not see Trenny. And there were several groups both in front of Trenny and behind Trenny. And there was no like little side trail or anything at this point where they saw her kind of go off. There was like this rocky area and it kind of dropped off, but when they looked, they couldn't see anything. The students just kind of assumed that maybe she would be at the bus, maybe they missaw something, and kind of just went on their way because they could see like straight down and she wasn't down there. They didn't see her like down laying on the bottom hurt or anywhere down the side of the cliff. At 3:40 p.m., Trenny had not arrived back at the bus. So the teacher, Wayne Dunlap, had hiked up to a place called Double Springs to look for Trenny, while a student named Danny Johnson hiked up to Andrews Bowl to look for Trenny. But there was absolutely no sign of her at all. At this point, the National Park Service was called by CB Radio, where a ranger named Sammy Lale responded and came down to the parking lot where he was briefed on the situation. Lale then began to search the Andrew Bald area, and he as well could not find Trenny. So at this point, he went back and made an official report that Trenny had gone missing in the park. Park Services immediately launched a search as soon as this report was received, and personnel in both Tennessee and North Carolina were called in to help in the search. Approximately 19 searchers arrived to help in between 6:30 and 8 p.m. that day. But hampered by wind, rain, and fog, the group combed the area where the student had hiked and where Trenny had last been seen. Now, if you've been a long-time viewer, some of you may remember on the Dennis Martin case, there was an investigator named Dwight McCarter, who I'm supposed to be related to. I'm supposed to be related to him through my grandmother, Lula Mae McCarter, who's supposed to either be his sister or an aunt or something of that nature. I've been told that I've met him at family reunions as a child, but honestly I don't remember it. I would love to meet him again as an adult and get a chance to actually interview him about these cases. But he has investigated over 100 of these missing people cases, and there is only 2 people he has not been able to find, and that is Dennis Martin and Trenny Gibson, which you can tell from the reports it still really bothers him to this day. Now, the teacher, Wayne Dunlap, had decided to stay back and aid in the search, but he put all the other students on to the bus and sent them back to the school. Now, rumors were flying on the bus, of course. There was a buzz going around. There was crazy stuff going on. And the consensus on the bus was that Trenny either ran off or ran off with someone. Honestly, though, it's just kind of human nature, in my opinion, because, I mean, none of them wants to think that something bad had actually happened to Trenny, someone they actually knew. Hope Gibson, Trenny's mother, was informed that her daughter was missing around 8 p.m., a full 5 hours after her daughter had gone missing. After Robert Gibson, Trenny's father, had arrived at the airport from a business trip, the Gibsons grabbed something that Trenny had recently worn and headed up to the park to give the dogs a scent. They searched for Trenny all through the night, and the search was finally called off around 3 a.m. due to inclement weather. Now, the full-scale search actually started the next day on October 9th, 1976, complete with teams of German Shepherds and Bloodhounds. And the group searched the area all the way from Klingman's Dome parking area all the way up to Andrew Bald's, including all the side trails. And 2 of Trenny's uncles participated in this search as well, using their own dogs. Several National Guard helicopters had been obtained for the search, but could not actually be used until the late afternoon due to heavy fog. Haze, thick evergreen foliage, and changing leaves made visibility almost impossible. while frost combined with fallen leaves made hiking slippery and dangerous. A few ferns were found broken on the trail close to where Trenny had last been seen, while 3 cigarette butts and a open can of beer had been found nearby. And several of the dogs had actually tracked Trenny to a spot on a paved road about 1.6 miles from Clingman's Dome parking area. On the following day, 8 cigarette butts of the same brand was found. A search for Trenny continued until October 22nd, 1976. Then a limited search for Trenny was carried out until November 2nd, 1976. A total of 756 people had searched for Trenny. At this point, the search was called off because no physical evidence could be found that Trenny was still in the park. But park personnel stayed alert to see if they could find any evidence of Trenny's case as part of their regular duties. A second search that was organized by Robert Gibson Sr., Trenny's father, was conducted on April 18th, 1977. This one lasted until May 5th, 1977, but 3 days were lost due to inclement weather. Eventually, all major and minor trails, drainage, and ridges between Andrews Bald and Elkman, Tennessee, that's a stretch of about 15 miles, and of Fontana Lake in North Carolina was searched. That's a distance of about 14 miles. 230 people participated in the second search. Unfortunately, no trace of Trenny was ever found. Now, I have to note that this was before Tennessee got DNA analysts, before that technology was developed. And so, as far as I could tell from my research, there has never been any DNA analysis done on the cigarette butts or the beer can at the scene. Though I think if they have retained those pieces of evidence, which cigarette butts might have deteriorated, but if they've retained any of that evidence, I think it would be worth going back and doing a DNA analyst. I am so sorry. I'm losing my voice. Oh, I think I might be getting sick. Okay, now let's go into the theories. There were 2 main theories presented by the FBI who entered this case on October 12th, 1976. Number 1, that Trenny was abducted, and they believe that she was taken out of the park, likely taken to the intersection where Andrew Bald Trail meets the Appalachian Trail, and that she was hidden someplace until it was safe to walk unseen. And from there, they believe that her abductor took her up to the spot on the road where the dogs had tracked her to. Now, if you look at this picture, you will see the observation tower on Clingman's Dome. You can see a cavity at the base of the tower. Could Trenny and or her captor have taken refuge here? In the heavy mist, fog, rain, they may have escaped detection long enough to leave the area, especially since this spot, the observation center, which is pretty visible, it was not searched during the original search. Theory 2 is that Trenny, while walking ahead of her classmates, accidentally went onto the Appalachian Trail by mistake and ended up at the roadside. And at this point, instead of finding someone to help her, she ran into foul play of some sort. Now, there were also other theories presented by her parents and others involved. There is the Kevin Bowman theory. Kevin Bowman, a student at Bearden High School who was a little bit older than Trenny, a few months prior to her disappearance had broke into the Gibson house along with someone named Ronnie Joyner. Upon hearing them break in, Mrs. Gibson had gotten a gun and ended up shooting Kevin in the foot. Kevin was arrested and tried and sentenced to time in a correctional institution, but he swore that upon release that he would kill Trenny. Some of the students had claimed that they had seen Kevin following the bus that day, though the principal refutes that claim, saying that he had attended class and was in class that day. As well, Dunlap, the teacher, said no one had followed the bus up there and that no one knew of their destination before the trip. And then there's the Robert Simpson theory. Robert Simpson was a year older than Trenny and was friends with Trenny's older brother, and he had a car, and it was said that they often rode together and went to Westtown Mall, among other places. It is said that Robert was very fond of Trenny, but it was not known if they were ever a couple. Trenny had shared a seat on the bus with Robert that day, and was also wearing his heavy brown plaid CPO jacket when she disappeared. On the trip, it was Robert that Trenny had spent most of her time with that day, and once they parted company, he could not be found, not at first, and he claimed that he had went off and tracked a bear. Later, some students ended up telling Mr. Gibson that Trenny's comb had been left in Robert's car. Trenny was known for never being without that comb. She always kept it in her right hip pocket. There is no record on whether or not this claim was ever investigated. On 2 occasions when the Gibsons were in the park searching for Trenny, Robert Simpson had came by and reportedly told Trenny's sister, Tina Gibson, that if Kevin Bowman had her, he would kill her. And if not, he thought she might have ran off with some horny hitchhiker. Very strange words from a boy who had a supposed crush. This case remains open and unsolved. If you or anyone you know has any information about Teresa Trenny Gibson, please contact the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. I'll put their number in the description box below. So what do you think about this peculiar occurrence? I'm really torn on this one because so many people supposedly seen her just bend over and kind of disappear into the woods, and or supposedly fall when after she bent down into the woods. Either way, I really think this girl did meet with foul play. I mean, it's supposed to be like some sort of cliff or something, so maybe she like kind of worked it, hid behind a tree, because they did find some cigarettes and a partial beer can in that area. Maybe she snuck off to smoke and drink one or something. I don't know. But I want to know what you think about this peculiar occurrence down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to check out my description box for your Don't forget to check out my description box for your peculiar occurrence gear. As well, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, share this out to all your peculiar friends. As well, don't forget to hit that subscribe and hit that bell if you're new here. I'd love to have you as my subscriber. I'd also love to not be losing my voice, like for real. I'm sorry about this video, I am losing my voice, but I want to get this content out to you. So yeah, and until next time, keep your eyes peeled for all things peculiar. Do 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 do. Yeah, I can't believe that worked with my voice going out. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all that stuff. I'm on all the social medias. Hit me up. I'll see you there. Bye.
Are you listening? Damn.